Thank you for being here, listening for this joint presentation with Gilles Bourron. I'm François Lecomte from Lobary, and Gilles and myself, we have a long habit of working together. We have been thinking a lot on a couple of subjects, mainly related to contactless deployments in all the Total network in Europe, and also the strategy for acceptance, any kind of mobile wallet or solutions acceptance. And today we'll be giving a pitch on linking mobile payment to marketing. The first part is explaining what kind of challenge we are facing on that matter. And then Gilles will illustrate on how he's applying those kind of information and trying to build the next strategy to engage customers, satisfy, and deliver the best experience on the gas stations. Next. So this is the agenda. So for just a reminder, you can go next slide, please. So that's my details. If you like my presentation, feel free to call me. And if you have also some good consultancy for needs, just call me, please. No, I'm kidding. All right. So thank you, Sami, for the very clear introduction. We like the way you're presenting the different matter of paying, which one way could be associated to the card, and the other way is associated to kind of a wire transfer. ACH, and we concretely on the field we are expressing that on three different categories as per the retail approach. The first one is really what we can do as part of a universal payment method. What is by nature accepted because you are Visa or because you are MasterCard, because you have the contactless payment infrastructure, then you can accept any Visa or any MasterCard, or you can accept any universal mobile payment solution as soon as this payment solution is certified Visa and MasterCard, and as soon as, of course, on your terminal side, you are up to date with the last software version to do it the right way. And there are also other methods that require it's kind of a private extended network where someone in the middle, it's a third-tier model, is in the middle and is seducing customer on one side to get some benefit in special merchant, and on the other side, some merchant they accept to get that payment method. Sometimes this method is associated to, again, a Visa MasterCard card, but it's not working as per the normal scheme. It's working because there is a man in the middle. And that's the case with the Yapital solution in Germany or recently Fiverr in France. So, and we have also other new methods that are appearing. Secure in Sweden as a pretty big success, actually. Zap in the UK. So those players, they are working the other way. I mean, getting the IBAN from the customer and from the merchant, and then you can reconcile the money. And the next one is online payment solution, and they start to apply for proximity payment as well. For PayPal is certainly one of the biggest challenges they have, and we are also seeing a solution like Paylib, V.me by Visa, or MasterPass that are by nature e-wallets, but they are finding application when they are linked to Beacon or other stuff to allow proximity payment. And the next challenge beside that is not only the payment. The real challenge is how you can seduce the consumer, how you can deliver a big value for the end user of the mobile. And what is interesting with what Apple recently announced in Apple Wallet is you can pay in one gesture and do two things together. The first thing, you can do the universal payment like you do actually with Apple Pay. But the other thing is if you have as a merchant an application, let's say Total have the application on the iPhone, and this application is compatible to Facebook, now renamed as a wallet. If the customer is enrolled, could just add the cookie of the Total app in the wallet, and when he will be paying in Total, assuming Total has made the job on the other side, of course, and on the terminal side, then it will be credited if there are coupons. It's getting a €1 discount on oil, for example, and then you will get automatically that discount. And also, it could be credited on the loyalty point, and for the next time, for 10 times in the Total station, he's getting I don't know what, any cookie or something. And so that's the real promise, and that is really interesting in Apple Pay. I seriously believe that Apple Pay alone, or Android Pay, or any kind of mobile payment solution alone is not enough to seduce consumer. What really is interesting is the way you can link that payment method with the screen and with all the value of the mobility and the smartphone. And then the challenge for the merchant is to make the customer happy with what is delivered. Next. So some of the challenge you have on that side as a merchant is, first of all, to make sure that your infrastructure is compatible with the universal payment acceptance. It should be easy. It's not as easy as it looks like. For example, if you are in France and you want to do contactless, if your acquiring bank is on the groupement carte bancaire scheme, there are actually 3 different bulletins software on your terminal. So if you do not have the last one, sometimes you may have some issues in acceptance. Total has solved that an interesting way. Maybe Gilles, you will have time to explain that. And also you need to develop customer habits. Paying contactless is something emerging. We will see some figures soon, but many customers, they have a contactless card in the wallet and they just don't know. And also, sometimes the experience may be difficult because the card is not well placed on the terminal. And so there is significant effort to be done also with employees, with all people that are customer facing, so that they can react. They can react with card. It's even much more difficult with mobile because the antenna is not always at the same place. Also, it's important to have a real strategy on M-Wallet acceptance. As we covered yesterday on that topic, there are opportunities, but there are also risks for disintermediation. So you need to balance, I need to quick a little bit. You need to decide if you are investing in your software for terminal and in your M-Wallet strategy to accept Apple Pay and M-Wallet or not. And also you need to decide if you want some specific merchant. In the case of Fivery, for example, in all the city of Bourron in close to Paris, many retailers, they are accepting. So therefore they have created a massive acceptance area. It's really local, it's not a countryside, it's a really city side. And then the challenge is, as soon as you have this, how you satisfy the customer, what kind of a specific reward are you able to forward? Because for big retailer, most of them, they have a national strategy or international strategy. They are not prepared for a very, very extremely local strategy, pushing the right reward at this specific point of sale and at this specific customer. That's an extremely difficult challenge. Next. And well, that was introducing, and that's in fact that's the point of the overall digital proximity. It's a job of the chief digital officer in companies, tuning the CRM system, delivering one-to-one, thinking on how you can manage multiple OS. You need to do the effort if you want to accept Apple Wallet. You need to do the effort if you want to accept Google Wallet, etc., etc. If you have 10 different to do, you can imagine the kind of complexity we are facing. Next one. And here is another representation of that challenge. This slide is sometimes a little bit hard to detail, but we've got 3 layers here. And the first layers is really application that are by nature not made to get a customer enrollment. It's not required to have the name of the customer, who we are, how old he is. So that's the first place. And many applications on that side, they are made on geo-mapping. So most smartphones, they already have their own mapping system that is installed. And that's the first one normally the customer will watch on. When you are a merchant, your challenge is to integrate the shop location, if you have many shops, of course, in your own application, in the Total app or in the Carrefour or Auchan app, where is the next Total station? That's one need. And also, there are other people that are doing geolocalization. So if you want to have a common digital strategy, you need to address all this. Otherwise, you're just occupying 10% of the space. For example, if you are Total, it's important that in the map that Apple is providing, your shop is referenced also. The people, they can find it, and then creating information to this information. The second layer is CRM loyalty. We are getting next year, we are trying to get opt-in information from the customer. And again, on that side, if you have your own app, you will lose a significant part of your customer. Not too many customers they will accept to disclose their own data, while they will maybe do it more easily in this place, because on the wallet they have the choice with multiple other merchants. Or they will do it, it's something that is convenient. We have FeedMe in France, it's very basic stuff. It's one small wallet where you can enter all your loyalty card you have on it, and you just show the QR code or the barcode, and it's done. And the biggest challenge, of course, is mobile payment. Again, if you've lost a significant part here, you will lose, again, more people. There are less people that will leave you their credit card reference, or stuff like that, and then you have a challenge for acceptance of very universal or other method, and sometimes integrated in your system. And in order to create that interaction, you have a big bench of solutions. You've got NFC, so it could be NFC universal, contactless EMV, could be NFC disruption, like Fivery. It's not EMV, but it works also on the NFC. You have seen solutions that are based on QR code, secure, I think it's based on the QR code interaction. And you have all this new emerging Bluetooth solution that helps you to pay when you are in a shop, but not doing it card present. So that's the introduction, a couple of challenges we have covered with Gilles really in deep, and that's just a very fast overview. And Gilles, I'm happy to give you the microphone.
Thanks, François. So my point will be to explain you what we are doing concretely. So just a few words about me. So I'm working for Total Marketing and Service in charge of all the networks of Total worldwide. So it's mainly station services in Europe and Africa. And I'm in charge of the strategy of means of payment concerning acceptance and issuing also for fuel cards. So to give you some metrics concerning our activity, so it's 6,000 gas stations in Europe, 15,000 worldwide, and in Europe, mainly in France, but also in Germany and Benelux. And to give you some figures concerning the payments we are accepting now, it's 10 billion euros of bank cards. It's also 10 billion euros of private cards, fuel cards. So it's a large, very important for us. And it's 4 billion of other means of payment, but today it's cash. But we are also issuing other type of cards, loyalty cards, 1.5 million in Europe, or some specific cards like car wash cards, but it's 20 millions per year, or coffee cards, and so on. The main point is to say that we have 4 million customers every day in our stations, and that we are, of course, a proximity retailer. For the moment, the online, the internet activity is very small for us. So, facing the profusion of means of payment, I think it's very important for a retailer to have a strategy concerning the way to decide what we are accepting or not. So we use the tools that François described with 3 types of means of payment: open loop means of payment, and inside there are all EMV-based solutions. For me, Apple Pay is an open loop payment accepted like other cards, other contactless cards. On the other side, on the On the right, we have the closed loop means of payment, very important for us, I described. And in the middle, all new stakeholders, new issuer, with a value proposition, but also a necessity for us, if we are accepting it, to build something new to deal this to this payment. So to decide, not just before, to decide what we are doing, we have 3 main criteria. So it's of course a retailer view. The first one is treasury, including all the payment process, the back office process, question of cost, question of warranty of the payment, non-revocability. The second criteria is the audience, how many people are using this payment methods or could use it in the future. And the last one is the customer knowledge in the merchant point of view. If I am able or not to communicate and to know the customer with the payment methods or not. So as you see, for open loop means of payment, the treasury is good because we are in Europe. The audience is very good, but the customer knowledge for the moment is low. Concerning closed loop means of payment, the treasury is very good because its cost is lower than open loop means of payment cost. Audience is quite good if you are a big retailer, and the customer knowledge is very good. And for semi-open loop payments methods, so it's clearly very different from a stakeholder, from an issuer to another. Sometimes it's quite good, like card payment. Sometimes it's very, very expensive. It could be 10 times the cost of a card payment. And in this case, of course, it's a problem. Sometimes it's very expensive and there are no warranty. So in this case, it's could begin to be difficult for a retailer. Concerning the audience, some payment methods are very well implemented, particularly, for instance, PayPal coming from the internet world. For the proximity, it's just emerging. For the others, it's always emerging. They have to create their audience. And concerning the customer knowledge, it's always the aim of the issuer, but sometimes he's sharing it with the merchant, sometimes not. So, of course, we are preferring business model which made possible for the merchant to speak to the customer. So, what is our strategy concerning these 3 types of payments method? So, the first one for open loop is clearly to accept and promote all EMV-based new ways to pay, because in this case, it's new means of payment. It's just new ways to pay. Concerning closed loop, it's adapt our offer and to improve the customer experience. And concerning semi-open loop, it's more to study and accept selectively the best solutions. So I will give you some figures concerning these 3 axes. So concerning open loop strategy, because we deployed a new acceptance infrastructure in the beginning of the year, we are now able to accept all contactless payment. So we opened this possibility in our network in France in April, and as you can see, immediately we have transactions. It was around 235,000 transactions per month during the summer. It was 13% of our card transactions under 15 euros, which was paid paid contactless. So it's clearly interesting because it's less cash for us. And it was very we had more than 1,070 stations involved in this transaction. So clearly, NFC payment is now in phase of general adoption in France, as we can see in other countries. But of course, for the moment, it's mainly cards. But if we make a focus of concerning this one, we can see NFC mobile transactions. So it's a little bit difficult to identify, but we saw more than 1,000 mobile transactions, in the summer. So it was Orange Cash or SIM-centric solution or Apple Pay coming from the US or the UK. And we are now ready to accept all other NFC-based payment solutions. So, and we will extend the acceptance of these contactless payment solutions. For instance, in November, all coffee vending machines will be equipped in France for direct NFC bank card payments, and we will deploy this infrastructure in Germany and Benelux next year. So, concerning the semi-open loops, so the next slide, please, strategy, our aim is more to an R&D approach. So facing the large potential offer, we are deciding to make experimentation. So as François explained, it's further in France because it's interesting in a marketing point of view. Yapital in Germany. And Orange Money in Africa, it's more than experimentation. In Africa, the context is very different. There are no cards, and for instance, now in Senegal, Orange Money represents more than 25% of the payments in our station service in this country. So it's clearly something adapted to the context of the country. So next slide. And concerning the closed loop strategy, here it's more difficult. We have two axes in our strategy. It's to diffuse NFC capability, so we'll do it for the coffee card and later for loyalty and fuel card. But the more interesting axis is to work on the different ways to dematerialize these cards. And in our context, we are proposing different services. It's fueling at the pump, but it's also to pay at the shop and in front of the vending machine. So to dematerialize these cards, there are theoretically different solutions. It could be something based on the car, of course, or something based on the badge for the toll or parking, or something based on the customer, of the driver. And our aim is clearly to have to offer a seamless customer journey for all these activities in our stations. So for that, the solutions are not so obvious. It's clearly more the mobile of the customer than something based on the car or on a badge. But the next slide, please. So what we are studying is concept of merchant wallet in order to propose to offer to the customer to enroll its card in our application. So it's for loyal customer, of course. And so the idea is to propose the dematerialization of the closed loop cards, of couponing, of course, but also of bank cards, if it's possible to create something which make a card payment possible in our networks. And for that, we have constraints. Constraints, it's the customer device, if it's Apple or Android and so on. And our aim is to have the more possible customers involved. So it's difficult to choose Apple or Android and so on. The other constraint is the fact that there is NFC capabilities or not. And for this reason, for the moment, QR code is something interesting because it's universal. And the last point is to have a non-revocable payment because, of course, it's possible to accept a remote payment. But in this case, the risk of revocability is high. So to do that, clearly, it's something that it's interesting for us, but there are no solutions which match fully these constraints. And so that's, I think it was interesting for me to show you what we want to do, hoping that some solution will appear. And I will give you the micro to François for the conclusion.
Thank you. There's only one slide left, please. Next one. Yeah, well, for the conclusion, there are four points here, and well, in the reality, we are learning when working. The world is evolving so fast, so we need just to be prepared, have a global overview, strategize that, and learn when working. So having that global digital strategy is a guideline, and then you can adapt based on what's happening month after month. Also, being very careful on the acceptance and having a great focus on universal payments and good management of the cost, and also very important, the non-revocability of the payments. So if you don't accept that payment is revocable, then it could be a no-show. And also consider first what is in the hand of the consumer massively adopted. And the last one is be careful on disintermediation, making sure that any solution you accept and any marketing strategy you apply leave to the merchant the control of the data and can protect the customer interest, but also protect the business of the merchant.